welcome everyone to the 8th RPG Sanctum, our special indie episode. With me today I have four special guests. We have from Z-Boyd Games, Robert Boyd.
Hello everyone.
From Carpe Fulgur we have Andrew Dice.
Good evening everybody.
And from SRRN Games we have Tyler Carbone.
Hi everybody.
And Aljang Abedi.
What's going on, guys?
Alright, and we have noticed a current rise in indie games and RPGs recently, given to services like Steam and the iPhone App Store and other things. So I wanted to ask you, start off with everything as, how did you guys get your start, and what made you guys want to do it? Let's start off with you, Andrew.
Oh, start off with me? Oh, great. It's a little bit funny with us because our enterprise was basically fueled by pure desperation and herpaderp. To put it succinctly. We got our start because my partner in crime, Robin, and I essentially wanted to localize a pre-existing indie title in Japan as kind of a portfolio piece, and we decided, hey, let's try selling it on Steam and other PC digital distribution networks. And then, we sold 26,000 copies in our first month, and suddenly realized that we had this odd thing called money. We sort of almost fell into it backwards. I've wanted to be a professional localization editor for a good long while now, ever since I was in grade school, really. But, I did not think that a single game would catapult me straight into something at least resembling professionalism.
Alright, and you guys first did Reciteer, and I believe you're working on Chantilly's now?
That's correct. They're both titles from Easy Game Station of Japan. Reciteer, as I'm sure a fair number of our listeners know, is a sort of item shop simulator RPG hybrid thing that is a little bit hard to describe in just words. And you can download the demo at our website, www.carpetfulgur.com. G-pop. And Chantilly's is a bit more like a straight action RPG. It's a little bit of an older title from Easy Game Station that we're working on partially as Easy Game Station is working on their next really big title that will hopefully be out sometime this year. But it's still a really solid experience, and I'm looking forward to showing it off a little bit in the next month or so.
Or do you guys have an idea of when you think you're going to be out with it?
We're hoping it'll be out by the end of May at this point. We're probably not going to make our original sort of end of April deadline for various reasons, but it's actually really close at this point. We've got all the raw text translation done. We've got a lot of the text in the game now. We mostly just need to fiddle with the hard-coded stuff and a few remaining interface images and whatnot, and we'll be ready to push out a demo and then the full version of the game pretty soon here.
Well, I have played Reciteer, and I can tell everyone here that it is a great game. And you guys have definitely earned your success with it, because it had a great translation for it, and quite a few historical jokes that I found very funny.
Well, we tried to keep the translation true to the original script wherever possible, while still keeping it amusing in in the style of the original script.
Well, I don't know if you guys all know, but by trade, outside of RP Gamer, I'm an anthropologist. So part of my job is studying history, and there was one joke I remember in Reciteer that made the joke about the level of capitalism would have made John Adam proud, and that made me chuckle.
Yes.
All right, Robert, you are. I believe you are the head developer for Zvoid, and you guys have done Breath of Death 7 and Cthulhu Saves the World, and last we heard you were hard at work porting both of those to the PC for release on Steam. How is that going now for you?
The actual work is going fine. We're probably going to finish up and head into beta testing next week. Just have a few more things that we need to add to the new mode for Cthulhu Saves the World. As for Steam, I really don't know. They've been kind of not talking recently, which I can only hope is because they've been so busy on Portal 2's release.
Alright, and you did mention on the very first podcast we did that you had some super big game in the works. Has there been any progress made on that you're going to divulge now, or are you going to keep us in secret?
We have a really cool title screen port that we can't share with anybody. But yeah, I can't talk too much about that, legal issues and all, so. But it is going to be very cool when it comes out, probably around August or September this year. Legal
issues. See, now you're just making all the listeners even more curious.
Yeah, I'd get in serious trouble if I was to reveal what we are working on and all that, so yeah, I'm just not going to say any more then. Ooh.
Rob, how did... I know you told us again on the very first podcast, for those that might not have listened, how did Zvoid get its start?
Well, I had written up a couple of text-based choose-your-own-adventure games and put them on the Xbox Live Indie Games service, and those had done okay. I mean, they sold a few hundred copies, which is pretty impressive considering they were text-based. But after that, I wanted to do something a bit more impressive and work on an actual RPG. And around that time, I... Was somebody talking?
Go on.
About that time, I played the game Retro Game Challenge, which has a really cool 8-bit parody throwback RPG. I was like, hey, I could probably do one of those. So I got someone to do my art on the Penny Arcade forums by the name of Bill Sternberg, because he had done some artwork for this remake of the old Atari 2600 game Adventure, which I thought looked pretty cool. I was like, oh yeah, you do good sprite work, you want to work with me? And he said, oh sure. And that's pretty much how we got started. I mean, before that, a long time ago, I had tried making RPGs back when I was a teenager and didn't really finish anything. But yeah, so that's our long, convoluted story.
And alright, Ajang, I guess we'll start with you. How did the first game you guys developed was Ash, wasn't it, for the iPhone?
That technically it's our third game, but I guess it's our flagship. That's what we started the company to do, was to build Ash.
All right, and how did SRR get its start?
Well, Tyler and I were actually both studying in business school. He wanted to start a tech company, and I had actually gone back to business school just to work in the video game industry. I'd worked in I've been working for about 3 or 4 years out of college, and I just realized that I really wanted to be in the gaming industry. It was what I loved, it's what I read about, and so I'd gone with the intention of getting my MBA and becoming a business development manager, or maybe one of the senior product managers, something like that, something an MBA would equip you for. And I wrote a very long piece on game design and the philosophy of game design that I'd spoken with a couple of RPG Gamer people about. I'd been writing editorials for RPG Gamer for about 10 years by that point, on and off. And Tyler read the piece, and he thought that the ideas were interesting, and he said he wanted to be a part of it, and he suggested that we start a video game company. And I'd never even considered doing anything like that. I don't know why it never crossed my mind, but So we sat down and we decided, let's give it a shot. And I wrote Ash, actually, the basic outline for it about 10 years ago. But I'd never done anything with it because, like most people who have ideas, I just figured maybe one day. And it turned out we thought, and back then when we had started at CERN, this was in 2009, there were no RPGs for the iPhone. So we thought this would be a great opportunity. Development delays, some really poor choices in partners, and schooling sort of got in the way of us getting it out when we wanted to. So we ended up missing the first to market goal that we had, and of course, SquareSoft dropped everything they ever had into the iOS market. But that was the genesis of CERN in 2009. That's how and why we got started.
And what other games for the iPhone have you guys developed? Have they all been RPGs, or because Ash is the only one I'm familiar with? But
we have a few other games as well. iLib is sort of like Mad Libs for the iPhone. That was a small product we did sort of as an extended internship for our very first developer, which worked out very well. Then we had Chimes, which is a musical puzzle game, which was our first foray into, I think, real App Store marketing, and that did fairly well for itself. It was featured by Apple back when it was just a couple of applications featured store-wide, and that was pretty cool. Since then, we've done some work with Penny Arcade. We did the Last Christmas interactive storybook for a Child's Play charity, and we just recently launched the Hawk and the Hare interactive storybook. They're both free. We've gotten pretty good reception from those. I think the interactive storybook market is an interesting one. It has a lot of. Am I breaking up? Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Oh, goodness. You were breaking up, but you're fine now.
Oh, okay. Sorry. What was the last thing you guys heard? I apologize. Like I said, my computer it's exploding.
I haven't heard any skip on my end.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just saying we've done 2 interactive storybooks with Penny Arcade. We think the space is really interesting, and it could have some cool crossover with RPGs and particularly with sort of adventure stories and graphic novel stuff. We're really interested in narrative at CERN. That's sort of the ongoing conversation we have artistically, how video gaming offers a unique way of presenting certain narratives.
I know Ash is exclusive to the iPhone at this point. Has there ever been any thoughts of maybe bringing it over to the PC or other platforms?
Yeah, that's something we've thought a lot about. Ash 2 is going to be released simultaneously on iPhone and Android and probably released to PC soon after. And I think, depending on the reception of that, we are definitely looking into releasing Ash 1 on multiple platforms as well. We actually were just at PAX East, where at least half the people who stopped by gave us a pretty strong lecture on not having it out for other platforms. And so in response to that, we're definitely going to try to do that.
As I've told Robert on our very first show, I haven't had a chance to play either Ash or Cthulhu or Breath of Death, primarily because I don't have an Xbox or iPhone. However, if I did have one of those platforms, I would definitely have both those. I know Robert is planning on porting his games to the PC, and if and when Ash and its Ash 1 are ever ported, I will definitely get them. I am definitely a PC gamer at heart, for me. So, moving on, what do you guys think is what was the inspiration for Ash?
In my case, actually, when I started writing Ash's script, I had just seen Gladiator. And I was really inspired by this question of how a man deals with tragedy.